The gentle hum of computers filled the bridge of the UEA horizon. Lisa Martinez rubbed her tired eyes and leaned closer to her monitor. For 8 hours straight, she had been watching signals pass through her communication array. Most days, deep space patrol was boring. Today it was different. "Captain Wright," she called out, her voice breaking the quiet routine of the bridge. "I'm picking up something strange." Captain Daniel Wright walked over to her station. He was a tall man with kind eyes that had seen too many stars to be impressed easily. "What kind of strange, Officer Martinez?" he asked. "A pattern, sir. Not random. Not one of ours." She pointed to the screen where a series of pulses appeared. "It repeats every 42 seconds. It's artificial." The captain studied the screen. In 15 years of space service, he had never encountered signals from an unknown intelligence. "Can you locate the source?" Martinez nodded. "It's coming from the Epsilon sector, sir. About 3 light-years from our position." Jack Hudson, the second in command, joined them with a frown on his face. "Captain, protocol says we should report this to command and wait for orders." Wright considered this for a moment. The rule book was clear. Unknown signals could mean danger. But something about the pattern tugged at his instincts. "What do you think, Martinez?" "Your gut feeling." She didn't hesitate. "It feels like a call for help, sir. The pattern has the urgency markers we use in our own distress signals." Wright nodded slowly. "Plot a course, Hudson. We're going to check it out." "But sir, if someone out there needs help, we're not going to sit around waiting for paperwork." Wright's voice was firm. "I'll take full responsibility." The horizon changed course, its engines pushing it toward the unknown source. As they traveled, the signal grew stronger but more erratic. Sometimes it disappeared for minutes before returning, weaker than before. Dr. Alice Freeman, head of the science team, joined the effort to decode the message. She set up special equipment in the lab and worked without breaks, analyzing every pulse and pause. "It's definitely not random noise," she told the captain on the second day. "There's a mathematical structure to it. I think we're dealing with a language based on prime numbers." By the third day, the entire crew felt the tension. They were now well beyond their patrol route, heading into a star system no human had ever visited. Martinez hadn't left her station for more than quick bathroom breaks. She stared at her screen until the patterns began to make sense. "I've got it," she shouted suddenly, startling everyone on the bridge. "Captain, it's a distress call. I'm sure of it now." Wright hurried to her side. "Can you translate it?" "Partially," she said, pointing to her notes. "These sequences here match universal mathematical constants. They're coordinates, and this repeating pattern. In our terms, it would translate to help or danger." Dr. Freeman confirmed the findings an hour later. "Captain, we're receiving a distress call from a spacefaring species humanity has never encountered before. The message contains their location and a plea for immediate assistance." Wright looked around at his crew. Their faces showed a mix of fear and excitement. Humanity had wondered for centuries if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. "Send a response," he ordered. "Tell them help is coming." As the horizon accelerated toward the coordinates, none of them could have imagined how this single decision would change the course of human history forever. In responding to a cry for help from the stars, they were about to thrust humanity onto a galactic stage it never knew existed. The horizon dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a gentle shudder. The main view screen showed a massive ship drifting against the backdrop of unfamiliar stars. It was at least 3 times larger than their vessel, with a strange design that reminded Captain Wright of ancient sea creatures from Earth's oceans. "Life signs?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Officer Ben Miller checked his scanner. "Yes, sir. But they're weak and scattered throughout the vessel. I'm also detecting multiple hull breaches and power fluctuations." The alien ship was dying. Parts of it were dark and cold, while others flickered with failing lights. Pieces of metal and unknown materials floated around it like a cloud of debris. "They're in trouble," Captain Wright said. "We need to help them." Security Chief Eric Boyd stepped forward. "Sir, we don't know what's waiting for us in there. This could be a trap. Or it could be exactly what it seems, someone who needs our help," Medical Officer Samantha Kelly countered. "Those life signs are getting weaker by the minute." Captain Wright made his decision quickly. "Prepare a rescue team. Chief Boyd, Dr. Kelly, you're with me. Full environmental suits with extra oxygen." Within 20 minutes, the rescue team stood in the airlock. Their suits were the best Earth technology could offer, designed to protect against unknown environments. "Stay alert," Boyd warned as they stepped into the alien ship. "And stay together." The interior was unlike anything they had ever seen. The corridors curved in strange ways that seemed to defy normal geometry. The walls had a metallic sheen but felt soft to the touch, almost like living tissue. Dr. Kelly checked her handheld scanner. "The atmosphere is breathable, but contains elements not in our database. Our suits will filter them out." As they moved deeper into the ship, they noticed the walls seemed to shift slightly when they weren't looking directly at them. It was disorienting, making several team members feel dizzy. "This way," Boyd said, following the life sign readings. "They're gathered in what might be a central chamber." When they reached the chamber, they found them. The first aliens humanity had ever encountered. About 20 beings huddled together in the dim emergency lighting. They were tall and slender with skin that shimmered like oil on water. Each had 4 arms ending in hands with 6 fingers. Their faces held large, pupil-less eyes that reflected light like mirrors. Most were injured. Some lay on the floor, barely moving. Dr. Kelly approached slowly, her hands raised to show she carried no weapons. One of the aliens stepped forward, standing nearly 7 feet tall despite an obvious injury to its side. The alien made a series of clicks and whistling sounds. Kelly's translation software couldn't make sense of it, but she tried a different approach. Using her tablet, she displayed the universal mathematical constant pi. The alien seemed to understand. It took the tablet and added the next 20 digits to the sequence. "They understand mathematics," Kelly said with excitement. "It's a universal language." Through simple equations and basic symbols, they established rudimentary communication. The alien identified itself as the captain and its species as the Vashali. Using the tablet to create simple pictures, the Vashali captain explained what had happened. They had been attacked by another species, one that hunted other intelligent life forms. The Vashali drew a symbol that looked like a twisted claw. "Kryvax," Boyd read from the translation attempt. "They're saying this species called Kryvax attacked them." Through more pictures and mathematical sequences, they learned a chilling truth. The Kryvax didn't just attack ships. They systematically hunted down and destroyed entire civilizations. The Vashali ship had escaped, but was critically damaged. Captain Wright made a decision that would change human history forever. He pointed to his ship on the tablet, then to the injured Vashali, and made a carrying motion. "We're bringing them home," he said firmly. "All of them." As humans and aliens worked together to evacuate the dying ship, none of them realized that humanity had just entered a war that had been raging across the stars for centuries. The Horizon was not built to carry extra passengers, especially non-human ones. Engineers Frank Rogers and Maria Diaz worked non-stop to convert storage areas into living spaces for the Vashali survivors. "Their bodies need higher gravity than ours," Frank explained as he adjusted the settings in what used to be Cargo Bay 2. "And they breathe a mix with more nitrogen." Maria nodded as she installed special lighting panels. "Dr. Kelly says they see different colors than we do. These lights will help them feel more comfortable." 23 Vashali had survived, less than a tenth of the ship's original crew. As they recovered under Dr. Kelly's care, the humans learned more about their new allies. Eleanor, the Vashali chief scientist, was the first to master basic human language. His 4 arms moved in graceful patterns as he spoke, adding meaning to his still imperfect words. My people thank you, he told Captain Wright during their daily meeting. No other species has ever helped us this way. It's what any decent people would do, Wright replied. Eleanor's skin flickered with dark purple spots, which Kelly had learned meant sadness. No, many would not. The galaxy is cold. Survival first. Others, not important. As the Horizon journeyed back to Earth, the Vashali shared their story. They came from a world with 3 moons and vast oceans. Their civilization was over 2,000 years old, much older than human space travel. They had met other peaceful species and traded with them. Then the Kryvax came. Eleanor showed them data crystals containing records of Kryvax attacks. The images were horrifying. Entire planets burned. Civilizations wiped out completely. They do not conquer, Eleanor explained. They exterminate. Take resources. Move to next world. The Vashali had been fighting them for decades, but were losing. Their home planet had fallen 3 years ago. The ship that the Horizon rescued was one of the last Vashali vessels still intact. When they translated the technical information from the data crystals, the humans realized how serious the threat was. The Kryvax possessed weapons and shield technology far beyond Earth's current abilities. They will come for you now, Eleanor warned. You helped us. They will punish. Captain Wright sent everything ahead to Earth. The response was immediate. An emergency meeting of the United Earth Alliance Security Council was called. The Horizon arrived home to find humanity divided on what to do next. Some leaders wanted to hide the Vashali or send them away. Others argued that humans should prepare to fight. We cannot bring this war to Earth, said Councillor Henry Grant during the heated debate. We are not ready for an enemy this advanced. If we turn them away, we are no better than the monsters hunting them, countered Admiral Paul Carter, his voice firm despite his age. We've spent centuries wondering if we're alone in the universe. Now we know we're not, and our first act cannot be one of cowardice. The debate raged for days. The Vashali waited quietly, expecting to be rejected. They had seen it happen before with other species too afraid to stand against the Kryvax. Finally, Admiral Carter made the argument that changed everything. Throughout human history, the greatest shame has always been turning away those who needed help. The stars will remember if we turn our backs on those who reached out to us. Humanity must not be found wanting. The vote was close, but in the end, Earth offered sanctuary to the Vashali refugees. It was a decision made from compassion, not strategy. No one could have predicted how it would transform humanity's place in the galaxy. As the Vashali were welcomed to their temporary home on Earth's moon base, Eleanor approached Captain Wright. You should know, he said quietly, the Kryvax will track our distress signal. They always do. You have perhaps 1 Earth year before they come. Wright nodded solemnly. Then we have 1 year to get ready. Earth changed quickly in the months after the Vashali arrived. Military bases buzzed with activity day and night. Shipyards around Earth and Mars built new vessels and upgraded old ones. Everyone worked with a sense of urgency that humanity had not felt in generations. Dr. Alice Freeman led the team working with Eleanor and 3 other Vashali scientists. They set up a lab in the Colorado mountains, away from cities. Their job was to combine human and Vashali technology to create weapons that could fight the Kryvax. The problem isn't just that their technology is better, Dr. Freeman explained to Admiral Carter during his visit to the lab. It's that it works in ways we never imagined. She showed him a piece of Kryvax armor recovered from the Vashali ship. This can change its properties depending on what hits it. Energy weapons, physical projectiles. It adapts to resist them. So how do we beat something like that? The Admiral asked. Eleanor stepped forward. His English had improved greatly in the past months. We combine technologies. Kryvax expect certain weapons, certain defenses. They have not seen human AI systems. Very different from our approach. The breakthrough came when they merged Vashali energy manipulation techniques with human artificial intelligence. The new weapons could analyze Kryvak's defenses and change their attack patterns faster than the enemy armor could adapt. Meanwhile, Captain Wright and the Horizon received new orders. Their ship had been upgraded with stealth technology, making it nearly invisible to sensors. Their mission was to gather intelligence on the Kryvaks. We need to know their numbers, their fleet patterns, and most importantly, their intentions toward Earth, Admiral Carter told Wright before they departed. The Horizon traveled to the edge of what used to be Vashali space. For 2 weeks, they jumped from system to system, careful to stay hidden. What they found was disturbing. They observed a massive Kryvak ship stripping resources from a dead planet. The vessel was enormous, at least 10 times larger than Earth's biggest battleship. It used energy beams to break the planet apart, then collected valuable materials with mechanical arms miles long. "It's like watching a swarm of locusts," Officer Martinez said as they recorded the operation. "They don't leave anything behind." Using their advanced listening equipment, Martinez managed to intercept Kryvak's communications. The signals were heavily encrypted, but with help from the Vashali translation matrix, they began to make sense of them. What they learned confirmed their worst fears. The Kryvaks had identified Earth as the source of the Vashali rescue. They were already planning their attack. "They're calling us the new prey," Martinez told Captain Wright, her voice shaking slightly. "They've added Earth to what they call their harvest route." The Horizon raced back to Earth with the news. When they arrived, they found the planet transformed. Orbital defense platforms circled Earth like a metal necklace. The combined fleet of Earth and Mars had doubled in size, with ships now equipped with Vashali shield technology. In an emergency meeting at Alliance headquarters, Captain Wright presented their findings. "We have perhaps 4 months before they reach us," he concluded. "They're sending 3 harvest ships and a war fleet." The room fell silent. Even with their preparations, those odds seemed impossible. Admiral Carter stood up slowly. Age had bent his back, but not his spirit. "Then we have 4 months to find their weakness. Captain Wright, your recordings show something interesting. The Kryvak ships move in perfect coordination, almost like they share a single mind." Dr. Freeman studied the data and looked up with new hope in her eyes. "They might be using a centralized command system. If we can disrupt that." "We need more information," Carter decided. "And we need it now." His next words would change the course of the coming battle. "We're not going to wait for them to attack us. We're going to strike first." Around the table, faces showed both fear and determination. Humanity had never faced such a threat, but they would not face it passively. The hunters were about to learn that their new prey had teeth of its own. The newly retrofitted battleship Defiance gleamed in Earth's orbit, its hull now covered with a mix of human and Vashali technology. Commander Olivia Parker walked the bridge, checking each station one final time. She was young for such an important mission, but her tactical skills had impressed Admiral Carter. "All systems ready," Commander reported her first officer, Joel Reed. "The task force is in position." 5 human warships and 2 Vashali vessels formed the strike team. Their target was a Kryvak's forward base located in an asteroid belt 3 light-years from Earth. According to intelligence, it served as a supply depot and communication relay. "This is Commander Parker to all ships." She spoke into the fleet-wide channel. "Remember your training. Hit fast, hit hard, and get out. The Kryvaks don't know we're coming. Let's keep our advantage as long as possible." The fleet jumped into faster-than-light travel. When they emerged near the asteroid belt, sensors immediately detected Kryvak's activity. 3 patrol ships and 1 larger vessel, Reed reported. "The base itself is built into the largest asteroid." "Deploy as planned," Parker ordered. "Fighters first, then the main attack." Small fighter ships launched from the human vessels, their new engines making them faster than anything humans had built before. They swarmed the surprised Kryvak's patrols, firing weapons that changed frequency with each shot, preventing the Kryvak's armor from adapting. For the first time in centuries, Kryvax ships were falling to lesser technology. While the fighters engaged the patrols, the Defiance, and the other large ships moved toward the base. The Kryvax, recovering from their surprise, launched a counterattack. Energy beams lashed out, slicing through one human ship completely. Evasive maneuvers, Parker shouted as a beam narrowly missed the Defiance. All ships, activate Vaishali shields. The shields flickered to life, absorbing the next wave of Kryvax attacks. On the tactical display, Parker saw her remaining ships pressing forward, despite heavy fire. "We're losing the Orion," Reed reported grimly as another human ship took critical damage. Parker gripped her command chair tightly. "Stay on target. We need to hit their central command node." The Defiance shuddered as it took a direct hit, but its new armor held. They were close enough now to launch their secret weapon. Special drones designed by Dr. Freeman and Eleanor. These drones carried viruses that could infect the Kryvax command systems. "Launch the drones," Parker ordered. Dozens of small objects shot toward the asteroid base. Many were destroyed by defensive fire, but enough got through. They attached to the base's outer hull and began drilling inside. "Drones have penetrated the base," Reed announced. "Virus uploading now." The effect was immediate. The Kryvax defenses became erratic, some shutting down completely. The remaining human and Vaishali ships pressed their advantage, concentrating fire on key points identified from the stolen data. Parker allowed herself a small smile as sections of the base began to explode. "Begin data extraction. Get everything you can from their systems before they recover." For 15 minutes, they downloaded crucial information while continuing to destroy the base. Then long-range sensors detected a disturbing development. "Commander," Reed's voice was tight with tension. "Multiple Kryvax signatures detected. A large fleet is mobilizing from the next system." Parker knew they had achieved their objectives, but at a cost. 3 human ships had been destroyed, and the Defiance itself had taken serious damage. "All ships, prepare to jump," she ordered. "We've stirred up the hornet's nest. Now we need to get this information back to Earth." As the task force prepared to escape, Parker looked at the data they had stolen. One piece of information stood out. Despite their technological advantages, the Kryvax were surprisingly few in number. Most of their ships were automated or controlled remotely. "They have a weakness," she murmured. "They rely too much on their technology, and too little on actual fighters." As they jumped away from the battle, Parker sent a message to Admiral Carter. "First strike successful. Enemy weaknesses identified. They are coming, but now we know how to hurt them." For the first time since learning about the Kryvax, humanity had real hope. 3 months passed quickly. Earth used every minute to prepare. The orbital defense network grew stronger each day. Ships from Mars and the outer colonies joined Earth's fleet, creating the largest human armada ever assembled. Admiral Carter stood in the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, watching data flow across the main screen. At 68, he was the oldest active commander in the fleet, but no one questioned his right to lead this battle. "They're coming," announced the sensor officer. "Multiple jump signatures at the edge of the system." Carter nodded calmly. "How many?" "Over 200 ships, sir. Most are drone vessels, but there are at least 20 command ships." The room fell silent. Even with their preparations, the human Vaishali Alliance had only 97 combat-ready vessels. "Send the alert," Carter ordered. "All ships to battle stations. It's time to test our preparations." Across the solar system, humans brace for the fight that would determine their future. On the refitted Horizon, now serving as a fast attack vessel, Captain Wright addressed his crew. "We knew this day would come," he said simply. "We're not fighting just for ourselves, but for every species the Kryvax have hunted. Today we show them that humans are not easy prey." The Kryvax fleet approached methodically, spreading out to surround Earth's defenders. Their ships were dark and angular, like moving shadows against the stars. The largest was nearly the size of Earth's moon. "They're jamming our communications," reported Officer Martinez. switching to Vashali frequencies. The human fleet moved into defensive formations, protecting Earth. The plan was simple but risky. They needed to hold the line long enough for Dr. Freeman's team to identify and target the Kryvax flagship. The first energy beams lashed out from the Kryvax ships, slicing through two human vessels before they could even fire back. The battle had begun. Captain Wright led the Horizon on a daring attack run, weaving between enemy ships while firing precisely at their weak points. Other human ships followed his lead, using their smaller size and greater numbers to confuse the Kryvax formations. But the enemy's technology was devastating. Their weapons cut through Vashali shields with terrifying efficiency. One by one, human and Vashali ships winked out of existence. "We're losing too many," Carter said grimly as he watched the battle unfold. "Where's that flagship identification, Dr. Freeman?" In her lab, Dr. Freeman and Eleanor worked frantically, analyzing the Kryvax communication patterns flowing across their screens. "There." Eleanor pointed suddenly. "That signal is stronger, more complex. It must be the control ship." Dr. Freeman nodded. "Admiral, we've identified the flagship. It's the large vessel at coordinates 227 to 884 103. All drone ships are receiving commands from it." Carter immediately relayed the information to the fleet. "All ships, concentrate fire on the Kryvax flagship. This is our chance." The human fleet changed tactics, focusing all their firepower on a single massive Kryvax ship. The enemy, sensing the danger, moved to protect it with a wall of drone vessels. Security Chief Eric Boyd, now leading a Special Forces team, prepared for the most dangerous mission of the battle. Their small, stealth ship approached the Kryvax flagship, using the chaos of battle as cover. "We have one shot at this," he told his team. "Once we're aboard, we have 5 minutes to plant the disruptors and get out." Using technology derived from the Vashali's phase-shifting abilities, Boyd's team boarded the Kryvax flagship undetected. They moved quickly through alien corridors, planting experimental disruptors designed to sever the control signals to the drone fleet. Charges set, Boyd reported as alarms began to sound around them. "The Kryvax know we're here." "Get out now," Carter ordered. "All ships, prepare for the next phase." As Boyd's team escaped, the disruptors activated. Across the battlefield, thousands of Kryvax drone ships suddenly lost guidance. Some drifted powerless, while others fired randomly, sometimes hitting their own vessels. For the first time in their long history of conquest, the Kryvax faced something new: defeat. 5 years passed since the Battle of Sol, as humans now called their victory over the Kryvax. That day changed galactic history forever. Though not completely defeated, the Kryvax had retreated to their core systems, something they had never done before. The news spread across the stars. A young species from a small blue planet had stood against the galaxy's greatest predators, and won. Admiral Daniel Wright, once captain of the Horizon, stood at the window of the newly built Alliance Tower on Earth. The building was a mix of architectural styles from 6 different species, symbolizing the new cooperation that was changing the galaxy. "Admiral, they're ready for you," said Lisa Martinez, now his chief diplomatic officer. Wright nodded and straightened his uniform. "Hard to believe it all started with you picking up that signal, Martinez." She smiled. "Sometimes the smallest actions have the biggest consequences." They walked together to the great hall where representatives from 12 different species had gathered. Some looked almost human. Others were so different that special environments had been created to keep them comfortable. The Vashali were there, of course. But now, there were many others. The Ridian, masters of bioengineering. The Novan Collective, experts in quantum computing. The crystalline Tellari, and more. Species that had hidden from the Kryvax for generations were now emerging, cautiously joining what had become known as the Sentinel Alliance. Many of the species we thought were extinct weren't completely wiped out, Dr. Freeman explained to a group of human scientists. They had hidden small colonies in remote systems, preserving their knowledge and culture while staying off the Kryvax hunting radar. Wright took his place at the podium and looked out at the gathered representatives. 5 years ago, humans didn't know any of these beings existed. Now they were planning a future together. The campaign to liberate worlds under Kryvax control continues, he began. Last month, our combined fleet freed 3 systems. We found survivors from the Ashari people, who the Kryvax claimed to have completely exterminated 50 years ago. A ripple of sounds, different species expressing excitement in their own ways, filled the hall. But our work is far from finished, Wright continued. The Kryvax are weakened but not defeated. They have ruled through fear for too long. Now they face something they don't understand: unity. After the formal meeting, the real work of the Alliance continued in smaller groups. Humans found themselves in an unexpected position. Despite being one of the less technologically advanced members, Earth had become the Alliance's heart because of humanity's pivotal role in standing against the Kryvax when no one else would. That evening, Lisa Martinez addressed the first formal graduation class of the new Sentinel Academy, where young people from all species trained together. When the Horizon answered a distress call 5 years ago, we had no idea what waited for us, she told the diverse group before her. We acted not because we calculated the benefits, but because someone needed help. That simple human instinct, to reach out to those in trouble, turned out to be our greatest strength. She looked at the faces before her, human, Vashali, Ridian, and others, all wearing the same uniform. The Kryvax believed that stronger species should hunt weaker ones. They never understood that true strength comes from protecting others. They saw compassion as weakness, never realizing it's the greatest power in the universe. The sun set over the academy, casting golden light across the gathered cadets. Tomorrow they would join the fleet, continuing the work that began with a single distress call that echoed across the stars, and humanity's answer that shook the galaxy.